Hey there, I'm Nev, I'm a dev, and today I want to talk about what I love about Svelte because I made a video about Svelte, I think 3 days ago, as you are seeing this probably, but I didn't really talk about why I stuck with Svelte and SvelteKit for a year, and I think this is the video where I just want to do a kind of a appreciation video about Svelte, and I guess let's go. The first thing I want to talk about is our separation between the client and the server. Because in my opinion, these things should be separate. I am not entirely sure what to think about the React server component syntax because theoretically you define what is client and what is server by using the use client and use server directive. But in my opinion, it's still a bit too nested and I don't really get why you should do this. Just use two different files and let the compiler do its magic, and also have a very good type system because we will see that later. What I have in my SvelteKit application right here, we have our page.svelte and we have our page.server.ts. And this is not a basic guide on SvelteKit. I mean, I will explain kind of what everything is, but I assume you already have the knowledge about SvelteKit. But what I have here is basically a load function which runs every time the route is hit, or I specifically choose to invalidate our loaders, and then our load function is gonna run again. And we are specifying our actions in here. And the thing is that everything declared in this file here is run on the server, and everything in this file is run on the client. There is also the option for a page.ts, which will run on client and on the server, but we can't do server-side logic on this because, well, we don't want to leak environment variables to the client, which is kind of clear. But you don't want to do this. This is why we have this server.ts. I already talked about briefly about actions and forms, specifically about actions, but I think I like the way how forms are handled because we have this actions object right here, which is, in my opinion, or in my case, a very chunky object. And in this, we have multiple actions. First of all, here we have the create action, which takes a bit of space, and the gist of it is that I really like that you can call these actions from your client, and we have here create, and then we just fire our action, and then we can progressively enhance it, which is, I mean, super cool, right? And then we can do server-side logic on the action itself, and this of course also runs on the server because this is a server action and it's in the server module. So overall, just super convenient to have this ability, and it's actually also type safe, which is really cool. I like to use SvelteKit Superforms. I use SvelteKit Superforms in almost all my SvelteKit applications because it's already a breeze to use SvelteKit forms themselves, but with Superforms, it just gets a little bit better, and I pretty much appreciate that. And I like this. It's just the convenience of having type safe things, because then I can call super validate here, and then the form already has all of the properties that I need, constraints, data. Let's go to data, and then I have event here. I mean, this is a form with very few fields, but still it is very useful, especially if you have big things. And then you of course also can return stuff from your form. I briefly talked about this. It is full type safe. I mean, this data contains many things and it's fully type safe. I can go ahead and access everything in this data object. As soon as we run the dev server, everything is kind of live, It's as soon as we go ahead and do const name is nev, as we go ahead and then return that in here also, if I can spell it correctly. We also have data, and then we also have name right here, and we can directly console log it. It's type safe all the way through, and this is just super practical, especially if we are working with like large projects with many types and many returns and many things to do. And they also have these cool modules here, which is the $/$types. Every route basically has this, and on there we have these specific types, and this is just type safe by default because we are using the props thingy. And yeah, I mean, just super cool, right? One thing that I've just discovered recently is the ability to use transitions and animations. I don't have an example in this app. Maybe I actually have the YouTube Dash installed. Yeah, I have. So let's fetch that. So this is the YouTube dashboard app I'm currently building. It's more of an internal project for myself, but maybe I will also publish it. But yeah, we currently have these projects right here. And these projects are, of course, a bit outdated. I mean, okay, well, 24 days ago. I mean, yeah. But the thing I wanted to show you is that in here, I can now just do, I don't know, maybe hello world, I guess. And the cool thing is, you could just see like there's a little transition or a little animation that was going on when I added this. I mean, talk about branching, for example, and now it just fades in very cleanly. Let's just add a third one because third time's a charm. And yeah, it looks very clean if I remove one, and it also looks clean if I remove one from the top. I mean, yeah, it just generally looks so clean. And the thing that is powering these animation is if we go to Svelte, we have transition. And basically, transition, if a element enters the DOM, and that does not mean what I previously thought, that you could just set the CSS from hidden to block or whatever. It is actually that you have a element that is really not in the DOM and then enters the DOM, that this transition is getting triggered. And they have some pretty cool transitions like fade. You just saw, I guess it was slide. Let's go to components and then node. Yeah, it was slide. And they also have so many easing things. Like, as you can see, they have so many easing options. I just went with cubic in out because, I don't know, it sounds really cool. And I think it kind of does the thing that I want to do. And they also have in and out. So what is the difference between in and out and transition? So basically transition applies to the in and out, and in and out is like if you want to specify different animations depending on if the element is entering the DOM or if the element is leaving the DOM. So as you can see in here, we have in, fly, and out, fade. Which will basically slide in and fade out, or fly in and fade out. And in here, when you set transition to fade, it will just fade in and fade out. So it's basically the same. Also, a very cool thing is the animate, which is cool because we can go ahead and put this in this list, which we have an each tag. And in this each tag, we can do animate flip, and this will basically mean that we can go ahead and do an animation if we reorder the list, and they will then like do a clean reordering. I don't really know how to say this. I guess clean reordering is the way, but yeah, I think you get what I mean. You just, the only thing is that you need to key your eaches, but this is not like a big thing. Also, a very cool thing about Svelte is all of these things, and the goat is definitely each. So cool. Much more comprehensive than the array.map in React or Astro. I mean, yeah, it's more JavaScripty, but this is more expressive. I think I would understand code with each much better than the other thing. Also, a goat is the await block, and I'm actually using the await block pretty extensively in like many projects, even like in this project. If we go to route and then page, we have this await. Because the way I'm using this is kind of like suspense in React. We are awaiting our project. If we go to our data, we just have our promise here. It's a promise omit, as you can see. And we actually need to await this. As we go ahead and go down here, we await the project promise, and then we have the project, which is no longer a promise, but it's actually an array with all of these objects. And in the meantime, I think you could see it, but it looks like this: loading projects, and then they are here. Like, this is basically the gist of it. This is the if block, of course, also pretty important. But yeah, generally very cool. All of these things, they are the GOAT. The new thing Svelte added was, of course, the runes. And I already made a video about runes, but I still think they are very good. And especially the derived rune, which is replacing the $ column syntax. It's just chef's kiss. Derived and state, these are just the GOATs. I mean, props is kind of, for me, props is kind of necessary, but having state and derived is just super cool, and having no imports is also very practical as well. I use inspect some of the times. I have never used host, and effect I use sometimes as well if I want to bind a variable to an element in my DOM. It's actually pretty useful, but otherwise, yeah, not really there. But generally, runes are just very good, and they also have some other reactive things. I mean, just the reactivity in general in Svelte is like pretty damn good. And theoretically, in a Svelte file, you wouldn't even need this state rune. You could also just let count equal 0, and it would also go as that. But just to declare it better for the Svelte compiler is if you go ahead and declare this as a state rune. So now let's go to a bit more of the SvelteKit things. I mean, we started with SvelteKit things and we went to Svelte things, but now let's actually go back to SvelteKit things. And one of the really cool things that they have is the app/state. And if you don't already know what app/state is, I don't know if I even have this in here. App/state. No, I don't have it in here, but I definitely have it in Zenith. What app/state does is we can import our page data from app/state, and if we go ahead and do $page, we have so many options to choose from. Yeah, because they changed it from a writable to now a rune. I just want page dot. Yeah, and we have access to so many things. We have access to the form, we have params and route and status and URL. And this makes it especially like super easy to build this error page, because this is also a page. We basically have plus error, plus layout, and plus page. And you can also build a custom error page, which is, this is cool. This is really cool. Page.status, and then page.error.message. It's just, when I wrote this, I felt so like kind of OP, you know? It's just like, I found it very nice to be writing this error page. And these are like only like some things. I think they even have more. Like we have navigating, which and updated. But yeah, they generally have very practical modules. Like also, I don't know, paths or navigation has also very cool things like invalidate all. Yeah, just generally these utilities that I would also have on maybe Next, but probably not on React. So yeah, I'm really thankful that these exist. So lastly, we have the rendering methods and the adapters that SvelteKit provides. And I mean, they also already state this on their website. No, they don't. I think it's actually pretty cool that in Svelte you can choose which rendering strategy you want to do. You can do client-side rendering, you can do static-side generation if that's what you're into. Like, that's basically the thing Astro does. You can do server-side rendering, of course, which is, I guess, kind of the biggest selling point of SvelteKit. But I also really like that we can specify what we want if we actually go to, for example, home. And then we have page.ts, and then we can just do export const pre-render is equals to true. And if we then go ahead into and deploy this will actually generate a HTML file instead of an HTML skeleton in an JS bundle. This will actually go ahead and convert this page into a full on. You can also enable CSR client or CSR like export const SSR or CSR. Yeah, just you can specify all of these things. And you can also have so many adapters. Where are the adapters? Servers. We can go ahead and do static site generation. Like I said, and we can go ahead and do SPAs. If we want to go ahead and disable SSR, we just have CSR. We can deploy to Cloudflare pages, workers, Netlify, and Vercel. I mean, Vercel is the thing that I'm using. I used to be on Netlify, but now I'm on Vercel. Yeah, just so many options to choose from, and you could even write your own adapter. But yeah, I mean, they have pretty much all of the things you would need, I guess. And the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, their community. If we go to Discord, we can go ahead into the Svelte Discord, and it's actually so cool to see like an active Discord. And what's even cooler is they not only have Discord, they have like so many cool things. They have Svelte Society on YouTube and on Twitter and on everywhere. And there are so many Svelte creators that I've already made a shout out to in the last video, but still there are many of them. And they're also all very helpful. And yeah, that was it for this little Svelte glazing or Svelte appreciation video. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, because this video probably comes out on Christmas, not on Christmas Eve, but actually on Christmas, because I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. And I will be publishing it tomorrow, or for me tomorrow. And yeah, maybe I will drop the Advent of Svelte video within this year, but don't be too optimistic about that. But I wanted to say anyways that this was a super cool year. It was the first year that I've actually started, or yeah, it was the first year of this YouTube channel. And yeah, we grew to almost 1,000 subscribers, which I'm like very stoked about. Thank you guys, and yeah, probably we'll see us next year.